So unlike my other Conrad video, this one I'm actually going to narrate a little bit, give you a bit more of the backstory. So this video was shot on the second night of the opening of the Conrad Resort World. And if you're not familiar with that new hotel, it's actually three hotels. It's the Hilton, it's the Crockford, I think is how it's pronounced, and the Conrad. I'm a Hilton Diamond member, and so they actually, when I reserved this, when it was like the second night you could reserve rooms, which was about 30 days before the reservation, or 120 days for the reservation, they actually had Crockford rooms available for Diamond members. But I decided, because I've stayed at Conrad, I wanted to try out Conrad and see how it compared to the one in DC. Granted, this was the second night it was open, but as you can see, everything was packed. But I could tell they were already having some problems, like with the parking lights. You'll see red and green. The greens weren't quite right. I also noticed in the elevators, a lot of the lighting wasn't quite right. You couldn't tell where things were fully lit or where things were going. There were definitely a lot of areas that were not really ready to go. And there was a lot of, like, you could tell everything was rushed. They put a lot of things up. They tried to fill a lot of empty space, but they just didn't really finish what I think they wanted to for the vision. The staff was really nice, but they also didn't really have a lot of answers or clues. As a Diamond member, one of the things that we were supposed to get, they didn't give us, was credit for breakfast in the morning. They didn't apply that. There were just a lot of questions that you'd normally get at a Hilton property that would be answered, and the staff didn't know it. The room is the main reason for this video, and it's a decent room, but it's not anything special, even by Vegas standards. I was kind of surprised by that. When you're talking about a Conrad, especially having gone to the one in DC, you kind of expect it to be really posh, and this was pretty average for Vegas. I mean, the one in DC, the curtains were electric. These are manual curtains. I mean, the Bellagio is really dated, but it has electric curtains. So it's those kind of small things that kind of the wow factor, it just wasn't really here. I mean, you got a larger TV, but for the most part, it just really wasn't anything super excited to write home about. A lot of the small details still needed to be cleaned up and checked out, and just kind of polish the facility. The room was just frankly average. The property looked nice, but there were a lot of areas that weren't finished. I mean, even the room, again, I'll go back to that. You could tell the flooring hadn't been fully finalized. Like, it still felt fresh construction, so to speak. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. The outside of the hotel, a lot of the public areas, I saw workers still trying to finish things, clean things up. There were areas in the pool area that were closed because there were just complete items needed to be installed and finished. So they're really rushed in getting this going. The food in the restaurants were not ready. A lot of the restaurants had partial menus, and then when the food showed up, it was kind of average. I mean, the staff tried really hard, but for the amount of money, the prices of food had gone up. Everything's kind of a bit more expensive in Vegas now, so it just, I wouldn't really stretch to go here. Yeah, it's got some cool things, like the outside of the building lights up with a huge billboard, but the pools are kind of average. I've seen better pools over at Mandalay Bay and MGM. A lot of more senior or established properties have some amazing amenities. It was interesting. There was this whole Rolls-Royce display in the main area of the hotel, and the casino was pretty large, but for the most part, for as big as this hotel property was designed to be, it really didn't seem that big. Mandalay Bay seemed a lot larger. The Palazzo, other hotels seem to be a lot bigger. This one did have some size to it, but it just, I don't know, it didn't seem as grand as one would, describe it to be. A lot of the amenities were kind of lackluster. The restaurants were okay, but again, partial menus. People they didn't really have a lot of things. There were definitely a lot of eye candy, like this little egg guy spinning, so you could take videos with it. A lot of art pieces. They have a mall bolted on to the facility, and the mall was kind of half empty. They have this huge electric ball, but it was having problems. I think they finally got it worked out, but as you can see in the video quickly, there's a lot of green screen where they're trying to figure out how to get the video going on the balls, or on the ball, so to speak. But for the most part, there really wasn't a lot to see or do with the property. So, for one night, try it out, see what you think, kind of a thing. Yeah, it was fun, but I'd stay at other hotels, and I'm a pretty loyal Hilton person. I will try the Crockford out. I'll try one of their rooms maybe later in the year and see if that's any better than the Conrad. But it is kind of disappointing that Hilton isn't, if Crockford's going to be their top of the line, well, what about the Waldorf Astoria, and what about Conrad? I mean, the one in DC is amazing. The hotel's amazing. Compared to this facility, I'd stay at the DC Conrad hands down. I'd even stay at the Waldorf Astoria in Las Vegas hands down. I stayed there actually about a month before this video was shot, and I was, it was a good stay. It wasn't a great stay. Waldorf had its own issues as well, but everybody's experiencing service problems right now. So, check it out, give it a shot. But for the most part, this was an okay visit. Thanks for watching.